purpose of the Pegues case, Kevin Pegues shooting, which occurred June 15th, 2009. The evidence on that day was obstructed. They did not include a police cruiser number 5. Tukwila police cruiser number 5 had the best vantage point for documenting the shooting from the point in which Kevin Pegues came into this fenced area. They cornered him. He had his hands raised in surrendering. They tased him and then issued the commanded the police dog Gino to attack. So in this video, we can see clearly police cruiser. This is right at the speed bump. Police cruiser, which is Officer Jordan's car. And then this is another police cruiser that's actually getting the best vista overall, best video of the entire incident. And this particular police cruiser, which I identified as police cruiser number 5, because there were 5 cruisers that stopped at the scene during the incident. Now this one shows Kevin Pegues, arms in the air, tossing an object which looked like a cell phone. It could have been a knife, but he tosses an object before he was tased. And if it was an alleged knife, there's no way he could have stabbed Gino because he had no knife. He tossed it before he was tased. In this particular photo here, which is an aerial photo taken from a helicopter, an aircraft, which could have been the King County Sheriff aircraft or a television crew news station. But we can see Officer Jordan's vehicle right here, another vehicle here which I identify as police cruiser number 3, and then this police cruiser is number 1, and there was another cruiser here earlier, number 2. Police cruiser number 5 is missing from this particular location. As you can see here, this would be the exact police cruiser number 5 behind Officer Jordan's vehicle. So Officer Jordan's vehicle is here. Then you have police cruiser number 3, which is at the speed bump, which is right here. My name is Regis Costello. I was asked to interpret dash cam video of this particular case. That very camera coverage is no longer included in the case. It was not introduced, and this is the reason for this documentary. On June 15th, 2009, Kevin Pegues was chased from the Tukwila Trading Company grocery store for allegedly stealing a ball worth approximately $2. He had on his possession $1.86, and a pedestrian that was also paying for groceries there in the checkout line made the decision to pay for the remaining balance. So the Tukwila Trading Company apparently was not out any money at all. But nonetheless, Kevin Pegues was chased. He was under the influence of narcotics, so he had already some issues with the narcotic use, and he had been arrested in prior incidents, 2 other arrests in the city of Kent. He had a history of narcotic use. Mr. Pegues was allegedly carrying a knife and ran from the police across International Boulevard and into a basketball court that was fully fenced on all 4 sides. He had surrendered. As the dashcam video shows, he had tossed his knife prior to his being tased. The police came. There were 5 police vehicles at the scene. 3 of those 5 vehicles had dash cam capabilities, recording devices that were also controlled by their mobile microphones. So as the police officers were in the field within that basketball court, they were also able to control from their microphone
the dash cam video recording devices. As Kevin Pegues was tased, he dropped to the ground immediately, but he had already tossed his knife, so he had no knife on him. Officer Sturgill, who was accompanying the Tukwila police dog Gino, ordered Gino to attack. Kevin Pegues was already on the ground being shocked and tased, and Gino begins biting at his head. Then Detective Cease approaches slowly with intent to discharge his weapon, which he did twice. He shot Kevin Pegues in the back, and what I saw from the dash cam video that is clearly missing from the evidence, and I searched in the King County exhibit room in the King County Courthouse in downtown Seattle, and it doesn't exist within any of the exhibits. So it was struck from evidence, perhaps because Tom Sanders shared the video with me and I was not a party in any way, shape, or form from a professional standpoint to be granted opportunity to review any of the evidence while it was navigating through the courts. Why was I given access to the evidence in this case? At the time of this case being prosecuted, the forensic specialist, Tom Sander, who was assigned the scope of work to review all of the dash cam video, he was also working on a case for me and my family regarding my father's health care. He was given the task of reviewing some images. That particular case went to the United States Supreme Court on review in case number 13-489. Mr. Sandor requested that I look at the most important piece of evidence in the Kevin Pegues case, and that being allegedly from police cruiser number 5, which I've identified it as number 5, and also most likely that police vehicle driven by Detective J. Cease. So as Detective J. Cease was in the basketball area, he was also able to control his recording device from his microphone. Mr. Sandor did not disclose the name of Kevin Pegues during the time that he shared with me the video. And it was not until June of 2014 that I actually learned the name of Kevin Pegues, and then I began to dig deeper into that case and discovered what was missing. I had also assisted Tom in another case that was going simultaneous to my father's case and the Kevin Pegues case, and that was the Ray Davis Bell case. So with all of this combined, I begin to understand how severe this was, and there were other outside forces that were unlawfully mining my cell phone and my conversations. A legal counselor that I employed clarified that my phone was being downloaded. Text messages, voicemails, voice conversations in real time were all being monitored. I had spoken about a problem that Tom was faced with in his work. He was under strict scrutiny for not presenting his work for peer review. He was so confident that his work should not need to be challenged that he had never submitted his work for peer review. I was concerned about his overconfidence and some of the remarks that he would make, and I shared those concerns with Lisa Werner multiple times during our telephone conversations we had. So it's reasonable to conclude here that that conversation with Lisa Werner and the number of conversations regarding Tom Sanders' overconfidence made it to certain investigative teams or just curious people that have the technology to intercept digital transmissions of cell phone. It's easy to acquire, and digital intercept devices are very, very easy to come by. But it's likely that those conversations were used to defend these cases that were being presented in the King County Superior Court. I was asked to give my interpretation, and that is the reason for this discussion series. I conclude that Kevin Pegues did not stab Tukwila police dog Gino. The evidence is clear, and what's most disturbing is what evidence was submitted is altered. I was informed that an FBI color of law review is currently pending for civil rights according to Section 1985 of the U.S. Constitution. This is a white-collar crime, and it's my hope that this gets properly reviewed and the corrections be made. I do understand the anxiety that exists on our police force. There's reason for the anxiety sometimes, especially during this period in 2009. There were a number of police officers that lost their lives, and that anxiety is real, and the fear is real. But you have to understand also that when the fear is not justified, or when the fear is created in order to justify a shooting that should never have happened, then it needs to be properly investigated and corrected. Kevin Pegues was accused of stabbing police dog Gino. He was shot in the back twice. Detective Cease claimed that he was fearful of his life and also fearful of Gino, the police dog. Gino should never have been introduced in this at all, in any way, shape, or form. Gino should have remained in the car. This never would have happened. Likely, Kevin Pegues would be just fine if he would have been handcuffed right away upon his being tased and dropping to the ground. There was ample opportunity to put cuffs on him, but the police officers refrained from that for some reason,